Virgo rising. Let's get into your Aries super full moon reading. Ishali diala madoi shale modoi tatanima. Itatatinima. Ishale modoinia. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and as you just heard and saw, I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body, both in the form of physical and vocal light language. All of this will be going on throughout the reading. And it brings in healing, attunement, and activation codes to the messages that come through. Now, this is the reading for the Aries super full moon. This is quite a powerhouse of a moon. There's no getting around it. It's a super moon, but it's not an eclipse, even though the nodes are still in Aries and Libra. They are at the beginning degrees of those signs. And this moon is happening at 24 degrees of those signs respectively. So we're still getting the influence of the north and south node, but it's not an eclipse in and of itself. If you want a deeper understanding of the most integrated and expansive intention of this full moon, pause this video, go check out the collective reading, and then come back to see how this relates to the Virgo energy. And that's where I break down the astrology in way more detail, and I pulled collective tarot cards for the collective intention, and channeled messages come through. So it'll just give you a deeper resonance of what's gonna come through in these readings. The moon is coming very closely into conjunction with Pluto in the sign of Capricorn at the moment. I've been recording the predominant nearly all of these readings today with this energy, and it's very powerful, and I'm here for it. This moon's a bit of a doozy. It's a big one. It's I know I often say this for every reading, but goodness gracious me, this moon is conjunct Chiron. Juno is conjunct the sun, and Mars and Pluto are squaring both of it. Now I read for the rising signs. So for those of you who do not have Virgo in the first house, look to the house that it does fall in your natal chart. Look to the themes of that house, and you want to apply those themes along with all the other meaning you've got going on in the sign of Virgo to the messages that come through in this reading. It will be as if that Virgo energy has now energetically moved to the first house. So the astrology for the rising sign will always link in. You just got to add on your own natal chart meaning on top of it. There's going to be 3 piles. The first pile is so it's a full moon, so it's a completion energy. Right, so what's coming to completion? What's being released? What's the closing out of a cycle with this full moon, particularly with Chiron, the wounded warrior, the master healer. Lots of big energy showing up here. Okay, so the energies are just doing some weird things with the bottom of the deck cards. Okay, they're wanting to remind me there's 4 cards that are showing up at the bottom of the deck. So you've got a bit of an extended reading. Oh, cards come out very quickly for you today, Virgo. Now, what was I saying? Sometimes when the channeling is going on, there's a lot of frequencies. So, first pile, what's closing out? What's being completed with that Chiron energy? Like, we're working through a lot of old wounds around the Aries energy and finding the wisdom within it. And that Juno represents commitment and our ride or die with Libra. Second pile is what's being activated. So even though this is a full moon and it's the end of a cycle, it is bringing in a download that we're then working with over the next 6 months to the Aries new moon that will be next year. So the second pile is, what is the intention of this moon? What download are you getting? What frequency is coming in that you're then going to be working with over the next 6 months? And pile 3, there's 2 little bonus cards of how to work with that energy, how to amplify it. Because that's the joy of astrology, that when we're in awareness of it, we can then amplify and work rather than be in conflict with what's going on around us. Now, Virgo rising, where is this happening for you? This is happening in your 8th house. It's your interaction with the outside world, right? It's the outside world's resources and the give and exchange. It's the exchange between you and the outside world, right? So this can be sort of big chunks of money. This can be resources, taxes, loans, inheritance, both in 3D and cosmic inheritance. Bonuses, commissions. All of those things are sort of big chunks of money or resources from the outside world that aren't your skills and your tools, right? Of how you make regular income. That's the Libra energy over where the sun is. It's also relationship dynamics, right? Because it's the exchange between you and the outside world, right? The lens in which that shows up, very fiery, very passionate, very independent. And so we've got this full moon with Chiron coming to a completion of a cycle, right? The 8th house can have scarcity complexes, can have codependency, giving too much, taking too much, right? That exchange. And then with that, Chiron is really amplifying the wounds that we feel around whether we're getting the resources that we need from the outside world, whether we're getting that sense of reciprocity and that sense of collaboration. I can see definitely a deep healing of the I am, of self, around what may have come before, with that Chiron being conjunct the moon. That stopped you from interacting with the world and the resources of the world in a way that truly is in alignment with your spirit based on previous experiences. I can see a closing out of a cycle of that one, because Juno is conjunct the sun over in Libra, which is in your 2nd house of your skills, your tools, your resources, and how you cultivate and manifest and bring in resources into your life, right? It's your value system. It's how you value yourself as well. So there's a commitment to your resources, to your values, while releasing wounds of that which has blocked the resonance of which those resources are interacting with the outside world. And they're doing some work around the solar plexus. Like that Juno Sun conjunction is kind of like an elevation of our equilibrium, of seeing things clearly and not being distorted by impulses that have confined us to certain programmings and how we engage with the outside world, right? And then that can show up in all sorts of different ways. Now, Mars, the ruler of this moon, is in the sign of Cancer, squaring it. And you have Cancer in your 11th house of hopes and dreams, friends, groups and alliances, and reaping the benefits from your 10th house, which is your life purpose, your career, your visibility, your reputation. So there's an alignment coming in of your Mars in the 11th. I love Mars in the 11th, where you're just getting more motivation and drive around your actions. In terms of your hopes and your dreams, right? You're really stimulated in that area right now of like really being able to put things into being. They're just doing some, I feel like they're doing some cleansing work on the body in regards to the limitations of the resources from the world in regards to your hopes and dreams manifesting, that have like dampened your actions in the world. And there's a lightness coming in, because squares can bring conflict, can bring drama. I talk about this in the collective reading, right? It can bubble all of this up in order for it to dissipate and be transformed. But squares are about building and manifesting in the 3D world, and it's with Pluto over in Capricorn, right? So Mars is opposite Pluto, and they are both squaring the sun and the moon. This is called a grand cardinal cross. Cardinal energy is solstices and equinoxes. They mark the pivot points of the changing of seasons, right? So they instigate new cycles. There's a leadership energy here. We're instigating a new cycle of power and how we interact with it, and elevating our understanding of what conflict, how we work with conflict. With that very yin energy of the Pluto in Earth, and Mars in Cancer of the yin energy, coming together to recalibrate and understanding a deeper resonance of your power, of how you utilize and work with the resources and interact with the outside world, right? So Pluto's in your 5th house of your creation energy, your joy, your pleasure, your amusement, your games, how you create in the world, your inner child, children in your life, right? Romance, dating. And Pluto is recalibrating the final frontier, right? Then there's some wild astrology going on with Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, which I did in the Pluto in Capricorn transit series. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out, because it's all part of what's unfolding here, of the capacity for you to intuitively understand your root creative energy and take action on it for your hopes and your dreams, and facilitate the resources from the outside world and your interactions and your dynamics in a way that is bringing balance into your equilibrium. And you may just see the opposite of that show up because of, it's quite dramatic energy going on here, because when we're operating in that new frequency, the old frequency gets really loud to let us know that we are closing out a chapter. So do not worry, do not fear if these things are popping up. It's in order for you to know that, oh no, that's not to do with me anymore. We've got a grand water trine going on at the moment. We had it with the Libra eclipse, with Venus, Mars, and Saturn all in water signs. We're doing some deep work with our emotional body right now. And now it's Venus, Mars, and Neptune. So we established the strong foundations and integrity with that Libra eclipse. And now Neptune is bringing in that magical reality, right? Of Pisces. So Venus is rocking around in Scorpio in the way that you communicate. She's ruling the moon. She's ruling the sun. And so this very yang energy of air and fire, Libra and Aries, are being governed by their rulers who are in water signs. So it's being pulled back into the water body through this sense of surrender, this sense of openness to our heightened levels. Sorry, excuse me, I just had a cough come up. Apologies, Virgo, I had to pause for a second. That cough just woof, this big energy movement. In the reshifting, right? So you've got Mars in your hopes and dreams, reaping the benefits from bigger groups, alliances, that's sort of the good spirits house. Venus in the way that you communicate, right, and how you find meaning in the day-to-day. And then Neptune over in the house of the other, of your one-on-one relationship. So there's a real sense of harmonizing, of an understanding of the depth of your capacity to communicate, a level of intimacy and connection with the way that you express yourself that is going to reverberate out in the resources, in the way that you interact with the world. There's just a real resonance of emotional capacity and maturity coming through. It is for the collective generally, because that's affecting everybody, but in the way that you find your capacity to engage and interact. The 8th house, the exchange, is coming from a really deep, watery place that is allowing your instincts to be in alignment with that very powerful, intuitive water body of what resonates in terms of how you bring the intensity to your collaborations in the way that you move through the world. It's not getting, like, the hot-headedness of Aries isn't being dampened by this water. It's being elevated by it, that the instincts that come through, you're seeing the resources and the resonance of the way that you're moving through the world reverberate in the reciprocity that you will receive. As you move forward. Okay, right, so I'm going to leave it at that. So this is what's the culmination, what's being released, what's closing out, what's being with the full moon. We have strength in reverse, the 6 of Swords, and the 10 of Pentacles. So this is you working through some wound. So this is the Leo card, but you see here, these two figures, we have the animal instinct to the mammalian side and our higher self, and they are working together. They are collaborating with one another, right? There's a sense of energetic flow, and it's come up in reverse. And the 8th house is about the give and exchange, right? Between you and anything other than yourself, where you're in co-creation. And so often, as I said, scarcity complex, fear mindset, giving too much, taking too much. The strength showing up in reverse is highlighting that you've been working through those dynamics and coming out the other side. That these have had to come up for you to truly understand your core perspectives and your own value. This is the Libra energy, right? That air of your value system, of what's important to you, what brings you balance, what brings you equilibrium, and where this shows up to not be out of balance. The 6 of Swords is about moving from troubled times to healthier landscapes. And how are you going to operate in those healthier landscapes? What perspectives, what core perspectives are you going to work with in this new frequency that we're drawing towards us? But it's meant that there's been some blockages around reciprocity and working together and collaboration, right? And you've had to go through those cycles to understand the deeper meaning of what truly works for you, and a releasing of the wounds of this, right? I'm getting the image of the thorn in the lion's paw that the lamb pulls out, right? There's a sense of tenderness. You've needed to go through a stage of vulnerability and awareness of that to come back into your own power. And with the 10 of Pentacles, it's saying that through this process, you've been building your legacy, right? Of the awareness of where these blockages are, of where this isn't in flow, and why it isn't the case, right? So why there's this, some relationship dynamics, some resources, why am I butting my head against the wall rather than being, rather than fighting it? There's with the Six of Swords, there's a sort of an acknowledgement of the observer mode of like, okay, why is this showing up? Like, what can I do to transmute that energy to move it into a new landscape? It definitely feels like you're shifting that block of that strength card in reverse. That's this whole process is getting you to a place where, because of the journey that you've gone through those limitations, you've created a deeper resource within yourself, a deeper resonance of abundance, right? Of stability, right? It's a city. Cities take forever to build. That you have been cultivating a very strong foundation here. Now, remember, they said they wanted the 4 cards from the bottom of the deck. They were doing some very strange things. And we have the 7 of Wands, the 2 of Swords in reverse, the 8 of Swords in reverse, and the High Priestess. And this is a process of know thyself, of removing yourself from limitations of scarcity and competition, of losing yourself with another, of all the distortions around your capacity to be the strength card in the upright, of being vulnerable and open without thinking it's a waste of time, right? Virgo is very efficient with its energy, and this feels like a clearing out of the paradigms that have felt like they've served you, that were efficient, that were in fact not efficient, if that makes any sense. That is led you to release a lot of expectation and weight of how things are going to unfold, and that has led you to the High Priestess, right? And the High Priestess is a very undulating energy. She knows she's drawing towards her that which serves her, even if it doesn't make sense to the rational mind. There's a sense of trust and faith in the abundance that's coming through. There's a real clarity of that through that, like that strength card in reverse, that block has made you work through some challenging expectations of self that has cleared a lot of energy for you in this transit. And with the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck of like how you're moving forward is that water energy, right? That yin energy of your capacity to communicate and understand and perceive on the day-to-day the information, the resonance of what you need to bring in a deeper level of commitment around your hopes and your dreams. There's a flow state here that isn't all the swords anymore. It isn't needing to plan. There's a deeper water emotional body that is holding you as you move forward into this next transition. Now, what's the download? What's the download that we're then going to be working with over the next 6 months? We've got the 6 of Pentacles, the 3 of Wands, and the Knight of Pentacles. And I love this with the High Priestess because this is the rebalancing, right? This is coming into a state of equilibrium. We have the scales here again, that having gone through this sort of restriction of reciprocity, we are now getting, there is now reciprocity. There's an exchange going on in the material world, right? With the resources, with your relationship dynamics, it's moving outside. So often with 8th house transits, I would very much get the 5 of Pentacles, because it is that scarcity mindset of like, I'm not getting the support I need. I'm not getting the resources that I need from the 8th house. And this is saying, this is the 6 of Pentacles that follows it. There's like, no, there's a balance coming in. We're starting a new cycle where you're no longer in that sort of scarcity mindset. We've had to do some deep soul searching, right? That's the strength card is the Leo card. That's in your 12th house. The 12th house is the magic of your soul, right? It's a cosmic joke that it can feel very behind the scenes, very isolated, and there's a lot of distortion there. But underneath it all, that is your root energy. The thing that is hidden from you is actually your powerhouse, is your Leo energy, right? And that is, you've had to do some recalibration around your understanding of visibility and the power of your creativity in order to get to this space, right? And this moon is bringing in the balance, is bringing in the harmony. It's embarking you on a new journey, the Three of Wands. This is the sun in Aries. So there's a real sense of, this card for me is so far removed from the sort of the Virgo mentality. I say that as a Virgo sun. I've had to do some deep dive work on my Virgo energy of needing to know all the details and all the plans and how it's all going to work. It's not about that. It's not about that, because the observational energy of Virgo is so high that it's constantly putting things into boxes. And this card is the sun in Aries, right? So there's a sense of, I know I am in every moment, and I am. So basically you're doing the best that you can in every moment in this new journey. It's not about the details. It's not about the plans, about how it's going on. It's about the inspiration that you feel in any given moment. But I love that that's coming after the Six of Pentacles in terms of the 8th house of, you are embarking on a new journey of reciprocity with the 8th house. And that the intention is for you to stay sovereign in your own energy, and your instincts is to follow your instincts, not to plan about it, not to worry about it, not to overanalyze. Just allow your instincts to guide you. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles, who's been showing up a lot actually in these readings. And this is the embodiment, right? So this is saying this is activating this shift that we're going through, is activating a shift of our capacity to create that serves us in the long term, right? We have the oak leaves in the helmet and on the bridle of the horse, and oak represents wisdom and strength. It is the king of the forest, right? It is the great tree of strength. And there's a real sense of stability and sturdiness and groundedness of you're going into the world with a level of confidence within yourself that is putting things into action, right? There's an element of movement, of momentum that's coming in, and then there's a sense of a shifting of that energy, of these resources, of these relationship dynamics, however it's showing up for you in your life, where you are able to create with it. You're able to put it into motion, into the physical, like it's tangible. It's nourishing. It's abundant. Eat. How to work with it. King of Pentacles, 8 of Wands. Brilliant. I love the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles wants you, like, admittedly, surrounded by a castle, very opulent, everything's abundant. But the King of Pentacles got to that space by envisaging this even when they were sitting on the curb with 2 pennies to their name. They knew that every action that they took was an act of creation, right? It holds the golden scepter that the Empress holds, which is all about creation and fertility and abundance. That everything we do is abundant. And the more that we understand that, the more, it doesn't matter what it is, the more that we cultivate the awareness of, oh, I'm just an abundance maker. I'm an abundance machine. Then that resonance starts sort of reverberating outwards. So this is your advice, right, of how to work with this energy, is to stay in your power, your creation energy, right? Virgo, got some big earth energy showing up. 10 of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, right? Of working through this activation, this release into an understanding of how you operate with other people that comes from your energy, that isn't diminished by what the external is bringing in, right? Right, this rebalancing and this new journey, it is saying, go and do things. Go and do the damn thing. And know that you're in a cycle of creation. Just had to pause for a second. Another little cough was coming up. I do apologize. I'm slowly working my way through this bout of illness. The King of Pentacles is like, you've got this. Your abundance is within you. And the more that you're aware of that, the more you're going to see that show up externally. And it's making me think of that Strength card in reverse, of like the light not being seen. And how we can know our abundance, but if it's not, if there isn't an if doesn't feel like there's an energetic connection with the external world, it can feel like that's disconnected. And I really feel like this is calling you to ground yourself in the reality that you are here, you are present, your energy that you're reverberating is abundant, and it is being received, and having like a practice around that, even if it's not showing up, because then you'll start to act from a place of a real deep rooted power and confidence and stability, right? Of truly practicing that mindset of alignment, right? Because these are all flowing in the same direction. There's a clarity here, right? They're all, there's a swiftness here. So it's this sense of creating, like this, from this, a practice of acknowledging your inherent King of Pentacles, that you are abundant in every action that you take. You are creating, and therefore that is a state of abundance. The more that you are aware of that, that harnesses an instinct within you that's bringing an alignment, right? So from that acknowledgement, watch your instincts that come through, that are gonna have a reverberating effect on bringing this up. That's through the awareness of this, your instinct will activate, and then you'll be able to put it into practice. And being in an alignment with your instincts, having cleared this blockage, this feels very potent in terms of, the 8th house can be the outside world having an impact on you. This is calling you to make sure that your energy lines are clear, right? That they're operating from your frequency and not from layers of conditioning and expectations of how things are going to manifest. It's simply the impulse that you have to create. So the cards that you have from the other deck is the Wheel of Fortune, spinning, fate, change, and fortune. And the Moon, phases, mystery, instinct, and discovery. This is kind of sort of that alignment process that I was talking about, that things are shifting with that 6 of Pentacles. the fate is turning in your favor, and it's coming through this undulating instinct, this undulating emotional body through you, because you've done the work that you've needed to do. But it is also acknowledging there's an upgrade in your instincts that are aligning you with how you navigate the resources of the world and navigate relationship dynamics that are serving the wheel is turning, that there's an alignment towards the wheel going upright in terms of your impulse. Right, Virgo, I'm going to leave it at that. Ooh, a little longer than the other readings. If this resonated, if it brought you any kind of joy, hit that like button. That really it makes me feel very nice if you do. But other than that, there is a offer on at the moment until the 22nd of October. If you book a reading through my website, you will get double the amount of time for the reading that you book, and the reading can be at any point because there's a calendar. You can book it well in advance into the future. It doesn't have to be in the time frame of the 22nd of October. If you want a personal reading, that offer is out and open to everybody. Other than that, Virgo, be good to yourselves, be good to those around you, safe travels, and be well until we meet again.